This video is on how to make a Swiffer duster pad. You can buy the throwaway ones, but this one you can reuse just by sitting it in the laundry machine. It's used two different types of yarn. Here's your regular crochet cotton and one called pipsqueak. I'll show you a little bit closer. But the this part slides over top your prongs on your duster. Now this particular one is super slippery, so in order for it to stay on mine, I have to tie a little bow right here, but that's just because this new version is super slippery. Okay, the yarn you would use to start with would be just the standard crochet cotton by Lily, and it's either sugar and cream or peaches and cream, they both work, or the big spool. It doesn't matter which one you use. You're only using about 75 yards, I believe. So whichever one you happen to have around the house or color that matches your pipsqueak will do fine. Now the pipsqueak comes in about 5 or 6 colors. It's quite lofty. That's what makes it catch the dust so well. And like I said, it's called pipsqueak. I think there's about 5 colors. I got some at, I think it was Joann Fabrics. Of course, I also carry it at my shop. So we're going to start with this part. And I already have a ball that I've been using because the coloration I choose, I'm going to use this one. And when you get it finished, it looks like this. This is the part where your one end of your Swiffer duster goes there and the other end of your Swiffer duster goes in that hole. Okay, let's get started. It has 19 stitches. You chain 19 and then you would have 18 when you're done. The good idea to count every stitch before you do it because you don't want to get off, because when you get off then the whole thing gets a little wonky. Okay, so leave yourself a tail of about 2-3 inches. You're going to weave part of this into your work and the rest you just trim off. So you start with a regular cast on stitch, whatever you want to call it. Then you chain 19 and you want to chain loosely 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, I'll enlarge this a little bit, get a little bit closer. All right, now sometimes my fingers gets in the way because crocheting can be a challenge to demonstrate and keep your fingers out of the way, especially when you're working on something kind of tiny. So now you want to do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So there's your first chain, there's your second chain. So do your single crochet in just the top loop. You want to leave the other loops alone at the bottom because you're going to need these later. So it's just this top loop right here. So you insert your hook in just the top loop, yarn over, pull it through. So you have 2 on your hook, yarn over and pull it through. And that's a single. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to make sure this is right to start with. 7. Because if your foundation chain is off, it can throw everything off. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oops, okay, now once you get too close to the end, I'll go back a couple. This is where you weave your tail in. You pick up your tail, lay it across your work, because you want to catch it in the stitch. Just like that. So that way it's caught inside your stitch. You want to finish doing it all the way across. I lost my count, but I can always count it afterwards. Don't worry about if it's a little wonky loose because you can tighten it or loosen it, whatever you need in order to make it work. And once you've laundered this and the stitches shrink, which cotton does, it kind of secures it in place and it won't come undone. So you go all the way to the end. The last one is always the hardest because you have nothing to hold on to since you put your tail inside your work. So let me count and make sure I got my 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I'm ready to go. Now, the directions say chain 3, but the way I chain 3 is too much for me. It makes a big wonky loop. So I found just chaining 2 works good for me. So whichever works best for you is the way you would do it. Now you turn it and you want to count and have 18 stitches counting this end one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and this, your chain 2 or 3 is number 18. So you're basically going to skip this first one here and do your double crochet in the second one. I'll try to keep my fingers out of the way the best I can. And you do this all the way across. I'm only going to do part way. I have several in different stages of completion so I can make the video go a little bit faster. Now the last 3 rows here that I do, number 3, 4, and 5, you repeat a second time, and that's what gives you the second half of your piece. Because see, this is 1, 2, 3 is here, and 4 is right here in the middle. Okay, then it's 2, 3, and 4 is up here. So you're repeating 2, 3, and 4. I'm working on the pattern. At the time this video was made, the pattern was not completed. Hopefully it will be completed fairly soon. If not, you can always use the video as a guide because I do tell you the stitch counts. Well, you do this all the way across. Okay, I'm going to say I'm going all the way across. So let me grab the next one. Okay, this one, I've just about have them all done across. I still have 2 left. That one and this one. This one looks a little wonky. It always looks like it's going downhill, so be prepared. It's going to look a little wonky. But you want to crochet these last 2. And then you chain 1 because you need that to help make your hole for where your part of your Swiffer duster goes in. Turn your work. Now this is the fun one. Let's count how many we need. The last one is right here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And there's number 18. And it's really hanging low. Sometimes it's fairly tight. So what I do is I take my hook out and grab this one, hope you can see it, with my hook and pull on it. Because sometimes it's really tight. You want to pull it up so you have something to grab. Now we'll go back to doing our actual double crochet. So you yarn over, go in that loop you just pulled up, and then finish your double crochet. So you're working on the back loop of that row of single crochets, because here you worked on the front loop. So when you turn it around, it actually, the back loop becomes your new front loop down here. And you can see it's all these little dashes. So you want to do 18. So there's number 1. I found if I fold it in half, so the loop I want is kind of on top, and makes it a little bit easier to crochet. I do everything I can to make it as easy as possible, because it can be a challenge sometimes to get all these stitches in the right location. Okay, so this would be round 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is round 3, or row 3, I should say. It's like a round because you're actually going around. Because if you look, this right here is that foundation chain and your first row of singles. And it's kind of a ridge on the bottom. When you see this, you know you're doing it right. You take this all the way across. I'm not going to go all the way across. There's no need to show you the same thing over and over again. But it never hurts to count too. So I would count, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, well 18. So there's 18 there. All right, so that takes care of that one. Now we'll go to this one. This is the last half of that one I was working on, because here's the ridge. There's my tail, which we'll trim later. I have 2 left. Actually 3. 1, 2, 3. So let's do the last 3. And then we chain 1. Now you want to squish these together. because you're going to crochet in the back stitch of this one. Let me take this back a little bit. Maybe it won't be quite so fuzzy. So you want to go down to see where you had your chain 2 or chain 3. You want to grab it. And your very first one over here, which is right there, grab that one and that one. Yarn over, pull it through, and there's your single crochet. Now you're going to do that all the way across. So take the back one of this one and the back one of that one, single crochet them together, and do it again. Oh, I didn't grab the back one. Let me try again. The back one is right here. This one with this one. So you got to really watch, because it's so easy to grab the wrong one, especially when you're first starting out. You do each one across, and you're making, this is the center ridge. That's this piece. Let's see, let me turn it over. It's kind of hard to see. It's the center right through here. Okay, I'm going to go all the way across and show you how this one ends, because then you repeat the last 3 rows. That'll be the 2 rows of the double crochet and this top row of single crochet, and that's what gives you the other sleeve for your duster arm to slip into. And right now it feels a little loose, but when you wash it, as you know, 100% cotton, it's going to shrink and tighten up. And every time you wash it, it's going to get a little more fuzz together. It's just the way cotton is. I'm almost to the end. And then I'm going to show you how to start the pipsqueak. There's 6 rows of pipsqueak. Now you can use a water-soluble marker to help keep track of where you're at. Okay, now you've got this weird kind of, what do I do combination here. I always do the last one here. Then I just stick my hook in wherever I can stick it for that. I just want to make sure I grab that last one some which way. And that finishes your single crochet row. And that's the row. You're going to repeat this double crochet on either side. So you chain 2 or 3. And you do your your double crochet on the front loops. All the way across. And when you turn your work, you do your single crochets on the front loops again. Then you fold them together and do the single crochets. And when you do that, you're going to have one of these. So what I do is, after I get to this point, this is where I ended, you turn it over. Did I got it right, or do I turn it this way? I'm sorry, you're like this, because that's where you ended. Turn it around, so your chain stitch is on the top and your last single crochet is on the bottom. And that's how we start adding our pipsqueak. So let me grab the pipsqueak, because I brought a piece of pipsqueak with me. They come in, like I said, a variety of colors. This is where the fun begins. I never use the last ones. I always found it's easier to go in one, because that allows you to see where to stick your fork in. And just to make sure mine doesn't come apart, I tie a knot, just a single overhand knot, just to give it a little bit more strength, because there's nothing else to hold this end. Then you stitch your hook in again, yarn over, and do like a slip knot and pull it up and take your hook out. Then you go to the next one. Put your hook in, yarn over, pull it through, pull it tight, and pull it up again. You do that all the way across. The first couple are hard to see because of the tail. Once we get past the tail, it'll be a little bit easier to see. But always pull it tight. Pull it tight, then pull it up. Then go to the next one. Pull it tight, pull it up. And you do this in every one across the top. So you should have about 18, because there's one here, one here, one here. You can see where they are. As you take it all the way across. I'm not going to do the whole thing for time constraints, but you do that all the way across. Once you do it all the way across, it looks like that. Just one thing of fluffies. Now when you get to the end, you don't do the last one. You put your hook in, yarn over, pull it through, pull it tight, and then chain 2. 1, 2, because you got to move it down to the next roll. I took a marker and I marked where the next roll is. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the next roll. Then after that, it's this roll. Then it's this roll right along this edge. Then it's this roll, and then your end. So we'll take these one roll at a time. So you skip the first one, put your hook into the second one. Like I said, I've got a mark in it. I always have to use my thumbnail. Insert the hook, pull it through, pull it tight. Then you go to the next one, put your hook in, yarn over, do your chain, single or chain, probably like a chain stitch, pull it up and let it go. Then you do your next one. I found if I keep laying this flat, it's a little bit easier to see where I need to put it in, and if it's kind of tough, I use my fingernail to help encourage it onto the hook. Pull it up, then you do the next one. It's the same thing being repeated all the way across all 6 rolls. And once you get all the way across, then you have this. See, I have 2 here now. Now we're going to do row 3. Row 3 is actually where this ridge is that you can see. Let me see if I can pick up the... Need to take it out. Okay, let me do this last one again here. See, I left this one alone. I'm not doing this one. Pull it up, and then you do chain 2, because this is the last one. Turn your work around, not over. This time we're going to do these loops. So fold it over so the loops stick up. Skip the first one, go to the second one, yarn over, and do like a slip stitch. Chain 1, pull it tight, pull it up. So we do another one, slip stitch, chain, pull it up, slip, pull it through, pull it up, yarn over, like a chain, pull it up, and you do this all the way across, just like we did with all the others. This will hold because each one you kind of pull down and fuzzy yarn kind of wraps around itself. You do that all the way across. Once you get that one done, then you go to the next one. I mean, you turn your work. For speed, I'm just doing it this way. Okay, this is my last one of row 3, because see, it was done on the little ridges. So turn your work, not over, just around, to these kind of angular looking bars. That's why if you put a little highlight with water-soluble ink or a marker of some kind, then you know where you got to go. So you stick your, well, first I got to do my chain 2. Grab this one. Chain 2, 1, 2. I'll go over here, skip the first one, go to the second one. Can you see what I'm doing? Fold your work, slip your hook through, pull it tight, and pull it up. Now go to your next one. Same thing, you get your hook in your loop, yarn over, do like a chain, pull it up, and you do this. Try to make all your stitches as even as possible, and just keep pulling them up. And you do this one all the way across, just like we're doing all the others. Okay, now we'll go to row 5. Now row 5 is the same. I have one more to do, which is right here. See, there's one more right here to do. Pull it, oh, that's right, we do 2 chains, because that's the last one. Turn your work around, not around, but over, and you see the ridges, because the ridges is the next bunch. So you skip the first one and go to the second one. Just repeating the same thing again. Pull it through, tighten, then draw your loop. You do it all the way across. I found keeping this as flat as possible makes it a little easier to see what you're doing. You do that all the way across. And once you get those done, now you're down to your very last row. Maybe I can catch this chain too. Okay, now when you turn it over, you got your nice chained edge there. Same thing. You take I do that one because your first one was right there. Pull it through, chain, and pull it tight, and you do the next one. And you do it all the way across. I'll do this one the whole way because I want to show you how I end it. Won't take that long to do it. I'm about halfway there now. I've tried to do with just 5 rolls, but it always seemed like there was a bare spot when I did 5 rolls. So I found it's better if I do 6. It's up to you. You can do 4, 5, 6, however many you want. Depends on how fluffy you want your duster. I'm almost to the end. And I only have 1, 2, 3 left. So finish these last 2. Now the third one is where you finish it off. So you insert your hook, pull it up, do your chain, and cut your yarn right there. Pull it through and pull it tight. That will not come undone because you take it all the way to the bottom, and then trim your tail to match. There it is. Now your duster is now complete. Thank you for watching. You'll be able to find it on my website, stitchniche.com, when I do get it up and running. Hopefully it won't be too long. Just keep checking back. If you like what I do, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends so they can also see how to make the dusters. They're great to do for art shows and craft shows because they're quick and easy to do. Very little materials, so you can really price them up there to $3, $4, $5, even $6 and get it because these are so neat and novel that no one else makes them. Thank you for watching.